Sarah and her husband Robert were dressed elegantly, ready to leave for a grand New Year's Eve ceremony at her office. As they stood at the top of the grand staircase in their home, Robert suddenly shoved her. She tumbled down the stairs, her body twisting and turning until she came to a stop at the foot of the stairs. Pain radiated through her broken body as darkness began to close in. But before she succumbed, Robert knelt beside her, his voice dripping with cold, calculated cruelty.
You thought I loved you?
He sneered, his face devoid of any emotion.
Sarah, I only married you for your money. You were nothing more than a pawn in our little game. Your dear friend Jessica, she's the one who came up with the plan. We've been together long before I ever met you. She's the one who came up with the plan for me to pursue you, get you to fall in love with me and eventually marry you, and then when the time was right, get rid of you.
Through the haze of pain and the fog of encroaching death, Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief. Robert continued, relishing every word. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes, not from the pain, but from the deep, agonizing betrayal. Robert's voice dropped to a whisper as if savoring his final words to her.
You see, no one will ever suspect a thing. Everyone knows you've been sick, still grieving after the loss of our unborn child. They'll think you committed suicide, unable to bear the pain any longer. And I'll be the grieving widower, the poor husband left alone.
As her vision darkened, Sarah felt the last of her strength slipping away. She lay on the cold marble floor, her breath faltering and her vision dimming, the last of her strength slipping away. Desperation clawed at her heart, and at that moment, she uttered, "Please give me one more chance. Let me change this destiny." With a desperate, trembling whisper, she prayed, "Please, God, if there's any mercy left in this world, give me one more chance. Don't let this be the end, not like this. Let me go back. Let me change this destiny. Let me undo the lies, the betrayal, the pain. I promise I'll be stronger. I'll fight. I'll do whatever it takes to survive. Just, please, don't let this be the end of my story." As the final words escaped her lips, Sarah's eyes fluttered closed, her plea hanging in the stillness of the night. The universe listened as darkness enveloped her. Sarah's eyes snapped open. She found herself in her bed, silk sheets tangled around her legs, her heart racing. Confusion gave way to realization as she recognized her surroundings. This was her bedroom from 3 years ago. "I'm back," she whispered, a mixture of relief and determination coursing through her veins. She had been given a second chance, a rare opportunity to rewrite her fate. As the initial shock subsided, Sarah's brilliant mind began to work. She had 3 years to prevent her murder, to expose Robert and Jessica for the monsters they truly were. But how? Sarah knew she couldn't confront Robert directly. His narcissistic tendencies would only make him more dangerous if threatened. No, she needed to be smarter and more calculated. First, she focused on herself. The Sarah of 3 years ago had been naive, trusting, and far too dependent on others. She threw herself into self-defense classes, started seeing a therapist, and began building a network of trusted allies outside Robert's influence. As months passed, Sarah carefully observed Robert's behavior. His late-night business meetings were high-stakes poker games. She hired a private investigator to document his affair with her so-called best friend, Jessica. But the real breakthrough came when Sarah discovered Robert's involvement in a complex money laundering scheme. It was the key to his downfall. With time ticking away, Sarah put her plan into motion. She anonymously tipped off the FBI about Robert's illegal activities. Simultaneously, she leaked evidence of his infidelity to the press, knowing his fear of public scandal would make him reckless. The day before she was meant to die, everything unraveled. FBI agents swarmed the mansion, arresting Robert as cameras flashed, and reporters shouted for a statement. As the dust settled, Sarah reflected on her journey. She saved her own life and grew into a stronger, wiser version of herself, with a future stretched before her. full of possibilities she never imagined possible. Sarah smiled, knowing that sometimes the greatest revenge is living well. Or is it? Is Sarah finally free from the grips of Robert?